Yes, welcome back to the South Australian Sports Show. Time to turn our attention, Ando, to rugby league. We don't talk about it a lot here in Adelaide, but it's always the AFL, mate. So.
It is, isn't it? But I mean, many years ago, we just had this...
Well, the Rams were in, mate. We were up and about, and it was great.
It was
Did you like the rugby?
Well, I did. I really enjoyed it, and we had some, some great exhibition games as well. I think St George sort of came over, and they got a really great hype here in Adelaide. And it died a bit, didn't it?
It did, but it's on the surge. Let's get to a couple of these experts. Kelso McEwan, of course, at the end there, Game Development Officer, joins us. Ayden Corrie, one of the stars, mate. He's just finished state rep. He's about to head off to Darwin, so we'll cover all that. Hey, fellas, thanks for coming in. Maybe we'll start with you first, Kelso. I mean, the game development, it seems like it's starting to make a surge again, rugby here in South Australia.
Well, Phil, we're working hard. There's no doubt about that. Our clubs are working hard. The league itself's working really hard. I think I said it last time, we don't shy away from it being a tough sell here in South Australia. We've got to find out where we fit. It's not about competing with the other sports, it's about finding where rugby league fits in the market and offering it at a time when people can access it, where it's not playing Aussie rules and things like that. So that's what we're doing. We're just working hard towards that, and hopefully our clubs will grow and get bigger from that. And
you've got men's and women's teams, which is obviously fantastic, and that's obviously the growth as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the women's comp's been run and won, and first time we've ever had a female competition in South Australia. So it was a short one, but there'll be another one at the back end of the year when there isn't any other football codes on. So that's a real growth area, as it is in all sports at the minute for us. We want to build some junior girls teams, because we've got a lot of girls that play rugby league up till 12, and if you haven't got a team for them to go in after that, they can't play with the boys anymore. Exactly, so that's part of our plans, to get girls and women playing rugby league and grow those numbers as all other sports have.
And let's talk about your team for a bit, mate. Central District's very good, mate. We've just joined. We've been given a couple of these, mate. Look at this, mate. We're on the Roosters, mate. We've jumped on the bandwagon. They're pretty dominant, mate. Just been announced in the state team. The state team going to Darwin in June.
Yeah, correct.
What's the build-up for you now through that period?
So trying to find a balance, I guess, between club footy, the Roosters, and then finding time also to develop the state squad before we go away. There's a fair few boys picked from country, so a couple of hours away. So at the moment it's trying to get them down enough so we can build as a team and peak when we go away to Darwin versus the other states.
It's going to be hot. It's going
to be damn
warm.
And you can talk about this as well. And the state game's just about to come up. And I know a couple of the Norwood boys at the moment, a couple of guys with groin injuries and stuff. They desperately want to play, in the club saying, mate, you're not well enough to play, you're not fit enough. Your game is the same. Is it hard trying to fit your club commitments around your state commitments, around now the guys from the country coming down? How does that all fit in over the next couple of months?
Yeah, so it is hard. So first and foremost, club always comes first.
Yep.
And then we've been informed that the week before we go away from the carnival, we'll have to take a step back from club football to make sure that once the final selections are down and all the travel's ready to go, that there aren't any injuries before we go away to the state carnival. So
does the local competition have a break for the carnival in Darwin? Because obviously all your best players are going up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at the moment we are working on a plan. Kelso might be able to help you out with that one a bit more.
Traditionally we do pause our competition for that weekend because, as you said, we're only small, so our best players leave. But to add to what you said about where does it fit in, as you guys would both know, when you play rep footy, so if you're fit enough to get there, you bring that stuff back to your club. You bring that level of training, that level of commitment, all the things you learn, even the level of competition, you bring that back to your club, and that makes your club, hopefully, a better footy team.
Yeah, so there's you guys, there's WA, there's the Northern Territory, Victoria, South Australia. They're the four big teams playing. And then at the end of that, they pick an Australian team to go away.
Yep.
So it's a fairly serious event. It's not like, well, we just go up, have a little bit of fun, play in a tournament, have a few beers
I want to play for Australia.
Yeah, there we go. So suddenly there's as soon as that word Australia gets mentioned, as soon as there's a green and gold involved in
Australian, don't you love it?
Everything changes.
Yeah, the park footy kind of goes out the window when you go away to these Darwin competitions. It's always a very tough couple of days of footy. And just fingers crossed we can get some boys from the SA representing the Australian side.
You've played before? For South Australia, was this your first?
So this is my second season in South Australia. My first time being selected for the state side. I come from sort of Queensland, but I'm super keen to go up there and rip in for SA.
Yeah. Mate, I'm interested you come from Queensland because I've just come back from there 4 days ago. So it's the reverse over there. Of course, everything's rugby and 8 pages into the paper is a little bit of footy. Over here, of course, there's 8 pages of footy and then 1 page of rugby. How'd you find the transition coming from Queensland to here with the focus of rugby not being so great?
So last year it was a little bit tough trying to get my head around the transition. This year I'm finding it a lot better because you've got blokes like Kelso throughout the competition making that transition easier and just trying to build up rugby league in South Australia. And I think we're taking steps forward to make rugby league better down here. It'll be a long process, but I think we're going in the right direction.
Because obviously you came for work, was that the...
Yeah, so I moved around a bit for work.
So now you're not just there to play sport, you also now have to represent your sport and try to make it bigger in a state. And as Phil said, where it was in Brisbane, it was all there just on a
waiting
plate,
for you,
just on a plate.
Yep.
So that must make it a bit harder.
It does a little bit, but I think we've got a good team, both in all the clubs and NRLSA, and as long as we're all moving forward in the right direction, I think over the next couple of years, rugby league in South Australia is going to take off a lot more.
Mate, you had the state champs just recently. You represented Sydney. What do you think the standard was like?
So I thought it was awesome seeing 3 competitive games of football throughout the night. There was no blowout scores, everyone competed. There's a healthy mix of players selected from each of the different teams, so I thought it was a really good afternoon of football.
Are you finding also more South Australians are playing, not just guys from Brisbane and Sydney, I suppose? That actually South Australians are getting more involved in the NRL style of play.
Yeah, so I'd say even over the past 12 months of just being in SA, the Roosters especially, and then obviously the competition just gone, there is a healthier balance of SA people actually wanting to get more engaged in rugby league, which I think is good.
Hey, Kelso, I mean, the same thing in our sport, basketball. I mean, we know that the AFL dominate the scene. When we go into the schools and we try and infiltrate through there, and then all of a sudden now we've got the women's footy coming in as well. How have you found it at grassroots level for rugby? Because it was going along pretty nicely the last couple of years.
Yeah, it was. Look, we're very lucky in the development side of things that we have really good relationships with schools in South Australia. So our programs are really big through Dave Cohen, myself, whether it be high school, primary school. So we don't have much trouble getting into schools. They love having us in there.
Yep.
The biggest problem for that is for us is to transition those kids to come across and play some weekend footy. So there's a challenge there for NRLSA is where does it fit? Is it the traditional model for our clubs? And that's what I think we need to do. We just need to find out where we fit in the landscape, how people can best access rugby league, and go from there.
Is there any schools that actually have NRL as a model, as part of their sport?
Yeah, we did have in the past down south. We had I can't think of the school. We had Ranella East that ran a rugby league component, and there was another school based in the south that did that as well. In the high school, we don't now have any rugby league run classes, but what we do is we run competitions, we run coaching, so we go in and do all that. Yeah. But there has been over the course of the last 10 years 2 schools that have had rugby league programs. So the kids go to class as a team. So Ranella did that, and so did one other school down south. And it was an amazing thing. And those kids, some of those kids transitioned and went through to play in Queensland and things like that, Q Cup level. So we need to build some pathways. And I think Kelly spoke about that last time she was in. So that's where we're at.
You know, one of the big pathways is you wheel someone into the Crows facility, or you wheel them into the Port Adelaide facility, and people go, just a great facility. Now, the Roosters just have a new sports facility. Tell us a little bit about it.
So Air Sports Park opened up last year. The Roosters now call it home. We share it with soccer and cricket as well. However, AV Jennings put a lot into getting it up and running, and we've sort of made it a fortress down there. It's a great facility. Even away teams love to come around, stick around for the day, and it's an awesome day for the whole family down there.
So as good as what you've seen in Brisbane for the setup for NRL?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely holds its own even against some Queensland and New South Wales venues.
Hey, Kelso, I really appreciate your time coming in, mate. Good luck. I'm sure we'll have a chat with you, mate, before you go.
When he gets certainly after.
Mate, instead of just bringing in the nice Rooster scarf, mate, you could bring an Australian T-shirt or something like that. It'd be really good for us, mate. Good luck, boys. I know it's a tough grind for you too, Kelso. Appreciate your time. Stay with us.
Thank you very much.
Still a bit more to come on the show.